Okay, I posted the workout, but no need to read it. I'll just kind of go through it individually, and then we'll go through each section on their own for anyone who cannot remember more than 3 things, because that's a lot. We're gonna do some Bulgarian split squats today. We can make these regular split squats if that's too challenging from a balance perspective. Um, we're doing 8 per side. You'll need something to lift your foot up on. So whether it's a bench, a couch, or something of the sort. Or a chair. Chair will do as well. Followed by 5 per side windmills. These can be very lightly loaded. Thinking 5 pounds, a water bottle. 10 is okay. Depends on your shoulder strength and mobility. So we'll make sure we feel good about that. It's just a bit of shoulder mobility and lat control. For our second portion, we have some dumbbell floor press from a glute bridge, or this is for people who don't have weights, or maybe the weights they have aren't heavy enough to warrant a floor press. Some Renegade rows or plank pull throughs. So I'll go through all those options when we get there. And then we're going to finish off with an every minute on the minute of 5 to 10 push-ups, some tuck-ups, some Supermans. And that third portion is, I want to say, optional for anyone managing their work volume. So it's a bit of a core piece there. The push-ups are what they are, right? But 5 push-ups is not a huge amount, admittedly, per minute. So part C, that EMOM every minute on a minute, it's going to be a shoot on adventure and make sure that you manage your work volume for the week, right? It is only Tuesday. So I don't want to mess up your training programs, depending on where you are, especially if you're towards the end of one. Before we start, I know we kind of already did our coffee chat, but real quick, just something you're looking forward to this week. Ooh, Arisa's excited. Arisa, what are you looking forward to?
I have my century ride, my metric century on Saturday.
Amazing. How did it go?
No, it's coming up.
It's coming up.
Coming
Oh,
up.
well, I
All right.
mean,
You're gonna do it.
And do
yes,
it.
not that they have age categories, but I have officially aged up, not the January one that USAT says. I am
Lovely.
now 60 according to the calendar, which I am totally in denial of. Yay.
I'm 60. Oh yeah.
But here I am. Yes, and apparently, according to that, or some article that's out there, yeah, step up in aging at 44 and 60. So I thought, oh, okay. Yeah, here I am.
It's good.
You are active, and it is a step up, but you're active, and that kind of delays some of it. I will say
Yeah.
that the 60-year-old women are still pretty damn competitive, but at 65, it starts to thin out.
Yeah, there were a lot of women in my age group at Santa Cruz.
Yep, I know.
You
There
gotta
were,
get rid of the competition and be like, hey, go sit on your couch now. I want to win. Kidding.
Yeah.
yeah, there were 13 women in my age group in Santa Cruz. I was number 8, but yeah, so I'm middle
Yeah,
of the
but
pack.
yeah, there you go. That's right.
Okay, your turn, Meg.
It's progress.
Meg, what are you looking forward to?
Getting the work done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a big week. I have another 22-hour week, and I'm looking forward to getting it done. So I got last week done, and Rob was away for the whole weekend, and
Ooh.
I had to skip 10 minutes of a cool down, and I got yelled at for it, and I was like, I don't mean to not be serious here, but it was 10 minutes, and I got all the intervals in, and Rob was away, and I am really proud of myself for getting this whole fucking week done with that. And she's like, oh shit, I forgot Rob was away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Rob's home now, and I have a big week, and so I have support again, and it just made me appreciate it even more. So
Yeah, I didn't realize how much. I think Nikki, that last 3 months, Nikki cooked every meal.
yeah.
I didn't cook anything. I might have like microwaved a tortilla and put cheese on it, you know, if I was just like really desperate, but like,
Yeah, my kids joke that I can't cook, and I'm like, dude, before we met Rob, I cooked for you every day, like many times a day. Like I owned a restaurant, you dummies. But yeah, so I cooked. I ordered in once the night of my like I had the 6.5 hour ride with a 30-minute run, and I had to pick up the dog. And so like in the car on the way to picking up the dog, I ordered DoorDash. That's the only time I ordered, because I was like, I'm gonna need food immediately and there's no Rob.
yeah.
And I ordered extra, so I had 2 meals out of it. And then
Yeah.
everything else I cooked over the weekend, so they can all just.
Well, I would say when I cooked, it was like purely fuel. There was nothing about it that was like, ooh, let's just be creative. I was like, no, food, face, bed.
No, I didn't make anything fancy,
No, but like if I did cook, cooking is a creative outlet. But for me, the last 3 months of cooking was like cook some rice, eat it.
Yep.
Schooling, not dining.
Exactly. A little side note for both of you, should you be interested or if you know about it. This guy. So this is by Lucy Sims. She's amazing. And this is her. I haven't read this book yet. I have read Roar, her original one.
Teresa and
But
I have it.
of
I
course,
have it. I need to
yeah,
go back and reread it. Yes.
it's been ages. And this is one that I remember her talking about. She was researching and writing, obviously, but I'd never purchased it. Now my friend lent it to me, but I need to give it back to her. So I need to buy my own. But anyway, just big old thumbs up to that. Okay, we'll get started. So here's the deal, my friends. Let's go ahead and let's start with some cat cows, normal cat cows, bird dogs, mental, physical check-ins. And then we will go more specifically into what we need to do for our first portion. So we'll start with 10 cat cows. Find that tabletop position. Gently bend and flex the spine as much as you're comfortable. Breathing in as your belly button comes up. Exhaling as your belly button comes down. Once you've completed 10 or so reps, not exactly, but 10 reps, give or take, alternate those bird dogs, extend your foot, extend your arm as a bonus, lift the leg, and then come back to center. Trying to keep that pelvis nice and neutral, trying not to rotate it too much. You can always remove the arms altogether and just do the feet. Okay. And finally, right, we'll do a bit of bird child's pose in a second. Let's get a bit of upper back rotation. Two options here. Option one is a little more challenging. It's with a bent elbow. And that's kind of where you rotate. I'm going to take my left elbow, rotate towards my right, and then gently open up here. This is going to be a little more challenging. I don't have as much range this way versus having a slightly elongated arm. Right, so arm straight above my head. And I thread it through this gap between my knee and my opposite wrist. So threading the needle. Both are great. It's a matter of taste. Let's do 5 per side of either version. with the opening part of this one, it's okay to respect your body's limitations there. Noticing any difference in rotation or restriction. Okay. And last but not least, just a few 90-90s. So these guys, we do these all the time, but this one, just kind of gently pick up the hips. Keep the torso as vertical as you're able while keeping the back flat. You're doing a total of 10. Lovely. I was gonna say, if it wasn't clear before with these, it is okay. As I shift to one side, I'm very much, in this case, on my right leg. So my left sit bone and sort of hip and quad and all that are off the ground. I'm not necessarily trying to stay seated. I'm actually literally on the right side of my body. Okay. So we end up with a distinct gap underneath one butt cheek, which is normal. Unless that causes some pain. So we're not trying to stay seated on that bottom hip. That's actually pretty aggressive. That makes the stretch way more intense. Okay, let's go ahead and shift into some split squats here. These can be done unweighted initially. You can add weight on that first set if you'd like. We're doing 8 reps per leg. And at this point, hopefully you know which leg tends to struggle a little more, whether from its muscular endurance or balance. And in which case I would suggest starting on that leg when choosing weights. So we have Bulgarian split squat. I'm going to show the full version of this. Due to my camera angle, you're going to see my hips and down. Okay, so I'm aware that's a little weird, but you're not going to see my whole body the whole time. I'm going to be using my couch today. If you have a bench, lovely. And a quick reminder on how to set up the Bulgarian split squat. You're going to sit on the edge of your surface. So for me, that's a couch. I'm going to use my right leg here. So I'm not quite extending it, right, all the way. Little knee bend on me here. I can help myself up. Right? Let's do this a little taller, excuse me. Okay. Back leg goes onto the couch, right? I would say if I had shoes on, laces down, you can go ball of the feet. There's nothing wrong with either version. And then I'm going to go ahead. It's actually a little bit far. That's a guideline, so you can adjust. I move closer to my couch. I'm going to squat on my right leg. I'm going to squat down. Exhale, stand. Right, I can use the airplane in my hands. Can't find my hands. Right, 8 reps per leg. If you don't have a stool or anything to do this with, you can just do this with your foot down, right? And just kind of same idea. We're just posting, excuse me, my left leg now. We're just using our back leg for balance instead. So adding weight to that. Let's do 8 reps per leg. Yeah, if you have a wall or kind of like a door frame nearby or a mantelpiece, that's always a nice way to do it too. If you need a little bit of unlock the knee. Unlike your, I would say, traditional squats that we're doing here with 2 feet, the depth here is not a given, as in I don't need your hip crease below or at parallel. We're just kind of respecting what that hip, knee, and ankle on that side will allow. Right. A little happy dance.
Yep.
I feel like at the end of that one, you should be like, nailed it, like gymnasts. So our windmills, this can be done with a very lightweight, or honestly a full water bottle, right? No more than a liter, I think is plenty on this. I gotta do my best to be in frame here. I'm gonna show you kind of from waist up and then kind of what's happening waist down. So this is an exercise where we're talking about we've done these before. We didn't do them standing. Okay. So this is my weight. I have 10 pounds. I probably wouldn't go much heavier than this. You can't see my feet, but they're about, well, a slightly wider than shoulder width, slightly wider. Okay. I'm going to bring this dumbbell or weight over my head. Okay. If this is too much, you can just put your hand over your head. That's fine too. I realize I'm white on white here. Not very helpful, but that's okay. My opposite hand, this is my left hand, it's going to be on my left thigh. I'm going to look up at my weight. I'm going to send my right hip back. That's where my weight is. And drag my left hand down my leg while looking at the weight the whole time. Keeping my armpit forward, so not letting the shoulder translate forward, right? So keep my thumb rotates. But I'm keeping my armpit forward. And it's okay if that rotates a little bit. We're doing a total of 5 per side. If it helps, okay, so looking at your weight, obviously, from the waist down, options. You can have your feet like you had, like this, or if it helps, so if I use my right leg or my right hand, I can just take my feet and just whoop, make them like a little backslash. Sometimes I can help people send that hip back. That's a matter of taste, by the way, on that little foot thing. But you're going to turn your toes towards the arm you're working on. Okay, so that's an option. That's 5 windmills on one side. Again, we're trying to keep the shoulder in line with the wrist, so not translating it forward like this, right? Beautiful. Once you're done 5 per side, we're going to do 2 more sets. With the Bulgarian split squats, 8 per side, adding weight, should you choose. You can add weight on your Bulgarian split squat by carrying the weight, and I'm not split squatting, opposites, or same side, right? Maybe both. You have 2 dumbbells. If you need something more challenging, you can goblet it. So carry the weight here. So make it leg up this way. You can front load it on your shoulder. All sorts. It's okay to send, if you feel safe, Meg, to send your hips back and behind you while you do this to get a little more. So it's a little less of like a side, like it's a little less like a side dip where I'm like this. It's more of a this. So this is my left hip. This is my left shoulder.
Okay, so it's okay to bend your knee a little bit.
Totally. Yeah, bend the knee and the hip can kind of slightly go back a little bit. So you get a little more range. Yeah, there you go. Right, because we're making this about the shoulder and the lats. The hips are just sort of I would say a continuation. They're allowing for range of motion on this. We've done these with the half kneeling position before. So that's probably where they might be.
Yeah.
Right. If you prefer half kneeling, by the way, for anyone watching this, half kneeling is fine. Just we're taking it from standing to kneeling. It's actually the windmills are a little bit like the 90-90 stretch that we do. We're taking that shoulder through its kind of natural, I would say a healthy shoulder, right? Through its full range of motion, allowing that rotation, right? Without allowing translation of the shoulder forward. So a bit of a brain exercise, albeit. There you go. And you say, yeah, that hip can go kind of back and behind you as well. Like you're a little bit deadlifty, if it feels helpful. Right? Good. So that's yeah, these windmills can be loaded, but the weight here is meant to be input as opposed to like heavy. You know, it's not what we're going for.
I'm gonna do only my baby weight until,
That's great.
while I'm in this build.
Yeah, that's fine. And I mean, honestly, sometimes just doing the shapes, plenty. And with a windmill, you don't need anything big. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it unless I would say you're heavily practiced.
It's fun of my baby weight and now it's so convenient.
The baby weight's adorable.
It is 5 pounds.
So I mean, it's adorable. I mean that as a compliment, not as a diminutive, like, it's not enough.
It's my heart. It's the same size. See?
I hope your heart's a little bigger than that. Isn't it like this size? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm no doctor. Okay, so let's talk about this floor press. I wrote per side, meaning assuming people may not have a set of dumbbells, right? You might have a kettlebell. If you are fancy enough to have a pair, cool. Go ahead and make it a pair. Okay. So instead of 8 to 12 per side, you're doing 8 to 12 total. All right. So option 1, the heaviest equipment based piece is going to be a dumbbell floor press. I'll show you in a second, from a glute bridge position. So from the glute bridge, I think we all know that part, but just in case. We're going to go the per side version, but if you have 2 dumbbells, the same principle applies. Okay, so I'm going to lay down. My dumbbell's next to me. You can't see it's quite here, right? I'm going to go ahead and lay down. My dumbbell's not very heavy, so I can actually just pick this up here. But if you're someone who has something on the heavier side, you have a whole rack and it's a little bit spicy, you can bring it to your knee, right? And kind of sit back with this. My shoulder is going to be pulled back and down, right? As opposed to up and forward, okay? The shoulder away from my neck, okay? Wrist is over the shoulder. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze my butt into a glute bridge and hold this the entire time. So as I bring the elbow down, my shoulder stays on the floor, and then I press back up. That's 1, right? Breathing in down. 2, breathing in down. 3, until you get to 8 to 12. Option 2, if you don't love that, bring the hips down, keep the shoulder back. Again, we want the shoulder, the back of the shoulder, remaining in contact with the ground instead of popping off the ground. So this is okay too, if you prefer, if this needs to be the case. So you need a little more back support, we can just do this. We're doing 8 to 12 per side. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So Megan and Reese are going to be doing this floor press version. For anyone who's not able to do so, option 2 is going to be Renegade rows, right? So again, single dumbbells going to be fine here. You can have 2 if you have the option. And that's where you do a push-up, okay? Either preferably on your dumbbells. I'm going to do it off for now. And do your push-up, right? Grab your dumbbell, row. Ideally, if you had 2 dumbbells, you'd row with both sides and repeat. Last piece, of course, another option is going to be plank pull through. So you have one object, not even a dumbbell, behind the wrist. You reach across, so right hand to left and vice versa. Once you've done your 8 to 12 reps, we're going to do this a total of 3 times. So 8 to 12 reps per arm if you're doing the floor press. Resting as needed, mostly for your butt. I think that's the case. And then if we're doing the Renegade rows or the plank pull throughs, we're doing 10 total. All right. If you're feeling fancy, Meg, not necessarily a requirement, but you can try it, especially with a nice light weight. Or anyone with a moderately light kettlebell, all right? Try it upright. So instead of carrying it this way, so that's normal, okay? Not sure I can do this, so let's find out. We're gonna go ahead and you can place it here so you can kind of carry this. You can go upright. So, sorry, kettlebell's this way, right? So I'll do it just in frame. So we're here to here. Whoa, right? This is spicy. It's 18 pounds for me, so that's a little intense the first thing in the morning. But you can make something slightly more, I would say, neurologically challenging, should you want to make that kettlebell upright, right? But feel free to toy with that. Maybe it's make a difference. When the bell is so petite.
Different.
Yeah, I like it because what it does, it kind of forces you to grip a little harder without maybe adding weight. Now, 18 is a bit spicy, but it does force this grip to engage a little more, which forces some more muscular engagement without tending to be too hard, right? Excellent.
More, it's a balance thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But in order to balance it, you have to flex a little harder, right? On the thing, and the wrists have to do a little more work, and in doing so, the forearm has to kick in and the bicep. And so just there's slightly more muscular engagement, I find, without, if it's the right weight, without being too intense. We hope. I also like this for anyone who is probably not in the endurance space, but more in the strength-based stuff. Some bigger athletes who are good at big weights, but you give them a single arm stability piece and all of a sudden they can't hold a kettlebell like this. And they start to get like, they're like, I don't know what's happening. And their shoulders are strong enough in certain shapes, but not in others. So it's just another way to add complexity for people who just honing in their skill sets. Once you've done 3 sets of 8 to 12.
I like that because also like I do the plank with the crossover a lot.
Yeah.
But this is like same thing, but from the other side. And
Yeah, we're pressing, right? As opposed to pushing, right? So same shape in a lot of ways. The other thing about this is when you're doing a press of any kind, we don't necessarily have the bench here because that's not necessary for endurance athletes necessarily. But instead of allowing the shoulder in the push-up or in a plank, we allow this rotation of the rotator cuff and the scapula. We encourage that. It's normal, it's healthy, it's human. But when we're pressing, we're here, like distinctly back. So it becomes much of a more mechanical shape, which is good for bench pressing, but it's also good because if you spend all your time here, right, or in your drops, that's fine for aerodynamics, but posturally kind of garbage. So can we get ourselves back to here and press from here and also build strength here? So just creating a bigger range for people. It also just allows for better posture, dead stop. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I went on a ton of pressing, so I'm gonna kind of add some more in because it's hard when people don't have a lot of weights, or it's hard to do well. Okay, let's talk about our every minute on the minute. We have 5 to 10 push-ups, right? So we have basically 3 movements. We have push-ups, tuck-ups, right? Just our little this guy. We have our here, or some kind of, sit-up-y thing, right? Some kind of core piece. And Supermans, where we're belly down, feet, hands raise up. So we're just extending the body, or opening it. So the rep schemes here are all suggestions, just to be clear. We still want to sit within that 45 to 50 seconds of work. Okay, so if 10 tuck-ups takes you 55 seconds, it's a bit much. You don't need that. That's not necessary. Same thing with the push-ups, right? 5 push-ups, very reasonable. 10 might be a bit of a stretch for me in a minute right now. So the rep range is there for you to stay within a certain volume or stay within time. Because we're doing this 12 minutes, 3 stations, you're doing each station 4 times. So if you did 10 of each, you're doing 40 reps of push-ups, 40 reps of tuck-ups, and 40 reps of Supermans. If that's too much on either end, you can divide that number you want to do by 4. That's your numbers per rep. Okay. Push-ups can be scaled as needed. Also, anyone who needs to remove them, just take them out. Tuck-ups are pretty straightforward. You're gonna lay on your back, bring your hands to your heels. Now, if that's still too much for whatever reason, you can, instead of going 2 feet, take your right hand, reach for your left foot, right? And then, so what we're doing here is just still creating this closed hip core piece without this. This might be too much. Okay, so opposites are okay. And Supermans, keep your toes together and your thumbs pointed up. So like this. I'll go diagonally so you can see. My toes are pointed, my thumbs are up, right? And I'm gonna reach up, but also out, right? I'm not about super high, just for length. So butt squeezed, mid back, upper back engages. Okay, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna start on our push-ups. Okay, you can start with 10 and work your way down to 5. I don't care. Even do less. Let me get a clock rolling here. Excuse me. Okay, my friends. Oops. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. If you have the opportunity, you can elevate your hands on the push-ups. I will say couch is not ideal. They're a bit hollow. So unless it's up against a wall, doesn't do much. But a bench or a countertop will do. You're resting the remainder of the minute. Okay? Just relax. You still have 30 seconds. Good.
So I only did push-ups for 15 seconds? That seems really chintzy.
Well, we'll try it. See if you want to add a few more reps, you can add a few more reps next time. Okay, my friends, we're going in tuck ups in 3, 2, 1, and go. 10 tuck ups. You're alternating. You can count each heel tap or heel touch. Nice work. Bring your hands to your heels. Beautiful. And you're doing great, Meg. If you want to draw, you can lay down the whole, you can bring your feet down at the bottom of each rep. You don't have to keep them up unless you want to. Good.
I'm gonna say that's the first thing I felt my rib, the
Yeah.
rib broke. Haven't felt it, like. I'll still feel it every once in a while, but I haven't felt it in probably like 3 weeks. But that
Yeah.
one, ribby.
Oh, weird. If you need to keep the hands down,
Yeah.
but also just bring, if it's this position, maybe it's keep the hands by the side and just bring your hands up. Sure.
I'll
5
try it.
seconds. We're going into our Supermans next. We're going to belly down. Point your toes. We start now. Toes together. So give the, hands in a Y shape, but I want the thumbs pointed up, right? No thumbs down. Gentle butt squeeze, just a light lift. If that feels ribby at all, we can change it too.
Oh, good.
Good. So the push-ups are 5 to 10 reps as a suggestion. The tuck-ups and Supermans are 10. Okay, there you go. Wherever you are, we said go ahead and rest. Even though it's not 10, that's fine. You have 10 seconds. We're going to go back to our push-ups.
Look,
That's
I have
1,
Arisa bus dance. Arisa.
2, 1, and go. It's gonna sound weird, but you're meant to have a little bit of rest, a little bit. So I'm not expecting you to work to the minute, like 60 seconds. I would love to see, say 10 seconds. Go ahead and stop wherever you are, or if you're doing this at home, stop at 50 seconds. Yeah, you can rest lying down. Look at that.
Ready for action, coach.
You're welcome. It's like in yoga, when they have you do this part, I fall asleep every time. All right, we're going tuck ups next in 3, 2, 1, and go. Here you go. Or you can try opposite hand, opposite foot, Meg, if that feels like it feels better. There you go. Lovely. All right, you have 20 seconds, plenty of rest time. So just go ahead and
Nap time.
nap time. That's a pretty active rest position. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but all right. 3, 2, 1, and go. Raising their feet and hands, also reaching for the opposite ends of the room simultaneously. So extension and height, but mostly extension. Good. Toes together, butt squeezed. Belly stays engaged.
Dance.
I go, it's like Reese is all fuzzy. It's like, I hope she's resting. I just see like a fuzzy blob just laying down. That's great. Laying down is fine. All right. We're starting our next set of push-ups in 3, 2, 1, and go. Those look great. Again, anywhere between 5 and 10 reps. That could be 6, and that could be 9, or anything between, right? So
Every time, stay consistent. Yeah. 8 for me.
yeah, the rep range is just there to maintain the intensity that you want, right? So if it needs to be low, 5 is fine. If you want a little higher, make it 10 the whole time. It also allows for, I would say, a numerous amount of skill sets happening. You have 5 seconds before you're back to your tuck ups in 2, 1, and go. Nice work with the tuck ups. Yep. Good. And we're just resting the remainder of these 15 or so seconds for the Supermans. I want a new name for those, by the way. I can't think of a better one though. 3, 2, 1, and go. Square. It's okay to rest your head at the bottom too if the neck gets a little tired. Just go ahead and rest the forehead on the ground. The neck feels a little bit rough. Good. Good news. This is going to be your final set of everything. So the next 25 seconds, we'll do our final set of push-ups, tuck ups, and Superman. Last ones. Excellent. Okay, we have 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go. Final push-ups. Nice work. Lovely. Those are the last ones. Done. Check that box. Okay. We have 10 seconds. Final set of tuck-ups. In 3, 2, 1, and go. There we go. Nice job. Okay, 15 seconds. Final set of the Supermans. So we're on our bellies, thumbs are up, toes are together in 2, 1, and go. There you go. Nice work. So I know there's 2 of you in person, but a few shout outs. I want to point out, Arisa, do you remember we first did these like months ago and you could barely sit up? Like you were like, race, right? Valid, by the way. You did like 4 sets of 10, like a fucking pro. Sorry for swearing, but like a fucking pro.
You can swear on this team.
Thank you.
So it's so good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Huge, right? Like, yeah, is it hard? Sure. But it's a bit like triathlon or swimming. You just get better, right? It doesn't get easier, get a little faster, it still hurts. But we're all kind of sick like that. We tend to like it. So it's a little so it's okay. And Coach Meg showing up on a 22-hour coach as like 22-hour like as an athlete, 22-hour week, showing up, kicking ass, taking names. Yay. Let's take a second. Meg's doing the adductors. I would say, Arisa, let's take a breathe. So
Sorry.
no, it's okay. But if like, let's put it this way, whenever you're doing soft tissue stuff or stretching, if you can't take a big, it's a response, that's probably just movement is going to be optional. Just start with compression on the foam roller, then move. So start slow, especially if it's a little lit up, as I would imagine it would be after very long training weeks.
Well,
Let's
they haven't bothered me at all, and my knees have been fine, so, then we neglect them. But I can't tell you how many people I have right now, but I'm like, I'm going to put adductor stretching and rolling into your training peaks, because they're like, well, this is bothering me, and it's like, because heart, like it's one of the least rolled out / stretched out areas. Like we think about the quads,
Mhm.
strings and IT band. Even people think about the IT band, which is not great to roll, but like
No,
all,
it's
but these muscles in here, they're freaking holding your knee together as much as anything. And when you start to climb a lot, etc., you're using them so much.
yeah.
They need a little love-ins.
Yeah, this is one of those sometimes the foam rolling for some people, and I actually honestly have some clients who hate soft tissue work. Like they cannot stand compression, which fine. Um I've noticed, I was gonna say trying to think of an adductor stretch that people can, I don't know. I feel like I've seen people do this where if you take a half kneeling position and then his foot's off to the side, just up. And then, so this, I'm gonna squeeze this butt cheek here and lean to the side. Yes, it's a bit of a lateral hip stretch, but because I'm tight, I also happen to feel it here.
Yeah.
Just for a bonus. It's not like so some people will have you add weight to this. So taking a weight, right, and just shift it over. But my butt is squeezed the whole time, so I'm not letting that go. So yes, I feel on both, right? I've seen it used to treat this lateral piece, but this medial piece, so the adductor as well. So I've seen it used mostly for that. But this is one of those you kind of respect that breath work, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, you might have people who are in this position and they feel a stretch already.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything yet. But yeah, I agree. The adductors are highly overlooked.
I
And
will say, like, like starting the week with yoga.
yep,